different nachos.
You are listening and or watching the Nerd Edification Hour. I'm Caleb.
And I'm Jeremy.
And in today's show, of course, we'll have your entertainment news and whatnot. And then moving on to some Nintendo news. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's always weird.
Yeah. Then,
reactionary people.
Then, of course, we'll have your nerd vocab and your video game news. And then just one little tidbit of tech news. Rachel's out sick today, so it's just me and Jeremy.
Hopefully she'll get feeling better, but yeah, it's allergies, so
I hate allergies. I have the worst of them, but this year they haven't been too bad, and there's no wood to knock on, so
I'm usually pretty good about it.
Get hit with them. What? So did you know Sony Pictures is really betting big on the Ghostbusters franchise? Basically, they were making a Ghostbusters animated series.
Yeah, this one, it's going to debut in 2018, is what they're showing for it. It's not really verified if it's actually going to have any connection to the new movie. It may be connected to the old series, because Ivan Reitman's the one doing this, not the director doing the new movie. So we're going back to the original guys of Ghostbusters. And a lot of people that grew up watching Ghostbusters remember the fact that the original synopsis for the movie was a futuristic take. It was supposed to be in the future where ghostbusting was like plumbing. It was a normal thing, and it was just kind of like their whole thing. Before Ivan Reitman talked, all of them into bringing it back to a more, modern time, and that's where we got the original Ghostbusters from. Kind of came from that.
I say it turned out great the way it did, though. Instead of being in the future, I think if it was in the future, I guess it'd be a little too weird for some people. Do you think?
Yeah. Well. What I'm seeing here, never mind, they're saying, this is disheartening. Interestingly, Sony says the new animated series will further expand the Ghostbusters cinematic universe. I am so tired of that. Okay, 1, cinematic universe off of one movie. Kind of dumb. 2, cinematic universe and ignoring the first 2 films. Yeah. You heard me here.
Cinematic universe,
but they're saying presumably Ectoforce will take place in the same canon as the new movie. So there have been several Ghostbusters animated series. There's been 1, people. With the most popular being the mid-'80s, The Real Ghostbusters. Any other Ghostbusters were not actually Ghostbusters. It was another group they had to pay to get the mark. It's...
This is just hilarious.
No.
What did I finish over?
It's Pokemon abuse.
Peter's going to come after you.
But yeah, pretty much all of that, I guess, are tossing out the window and going from this. So I don't know. I have no problem with the new Ghostbusters film except for the fact that they just threw out the old ones. I've said it multiple times and people have been like, oh, well, you just like it because it's girls or this or that. I don't care that it's all girls. I really don't. Just don't throw away the old movies for no reason. Even in the very first few minutes of Ghostbusters, when he goes, Ray, the franchise rights alone are millions. Right there gives you a reason to make all of them you want. They even joked about it and referenced it in the game when they were going to franchise it out and hire the new guy. So, you get the next show. I'm just...
It was a... So, bit of sad news after that hilarity. Star Trek actor Anton
Yelchin
died in a freak car accident.
Yep.
So he was actually driving what was a defective Jeep.
Yeah, he wasn't even driving. He had gotten out to do something else, and what it is the gear shifter has an issue. It was under recall because of the way it's designed, and
it wasn't put in park or something like that.
Yeah, it wouldn't hold in park. And when he got out, he lives on a kind of a hill. He went out and the car started rolling back automatically, hit him and pinned him against a brick mailbox, and it crushed him and he died. He couldn't get out. So, I mean, it's a stupid way for someone to die.
That is...
Literally over something like that. And his friends didn't realize he was gone until it was like after 1 o'clock in the morning. And he had missed rehearsal. They were trying to find out where he was, and that's how they found him, which I can only imagine how that was. So,
did he live out in the country or something? He
no.
didn't live in a... Nobody at
all.
Nobody.
Well, I mean, the way his house was, I guess he was kind of in there until they actually went looking for him. That's when they found him.
that's a bit strange. I mean, I kind of pictured the normal kind of Beverly Hills, Hollywood circle neighborhood kind of thing. I don't know.
I mean, I've liked his movies. Like, there's one that I've really enjoyed that was kind of like a smaller, like, B film was Odd Thomas. Was actually it's a really good one. You should watch it. That one's kind of like his connection to the dead. It's kind of like a horror film, but not. It was good. I liked it. I haven't seen the remake of Fright Night. Of course, he was Chekhov in the new Star Trek films, including, which I guess they're still going to have to continue with it because I think I don't know if he filmed all his parts or not, but the upcoming Star Trek film that's coming out as well. So, we'll have to see what they do with that, if they're going to change it, as well as are they going to have to change the story to reflect that he's gone in some way to kind of show, because that would be a whole twist on it. I mean, this is a new timeline that was based in the original series. They actually had a way to connect it over. Seriously, Ghostbusters. Yeah. Even they did it. They're going to have to figure out something, and I guess they could have it where one of the twists in that new timeline is something happens to Chekhov, and either have him die in some way, or have him leave the ship, or something happen to respectfully bring him out of the show, or out of the movie, if they make any further ones beyond this.
Yeah, I mean, I always figured they could pull off some kind of soap opera and say that his brain was transferred.
No,
I mean, if you wanted to do that, or if you just want to take him off the
I think it would
show.
be
unless
better.
he's like super, super duper important to the plot of any kind of thing.
Chekhov was never really that important.
I know, but
it's,
I mean,
it's Chekhov. I mean, I love Chekhov, but he's mostly there to call nuclear whistle.
I am looking for your nuclear vessels.
Yeah,
your
nuclear
naval
vessel.
base with nuclear vessels. Can you take me to them?
Anton, you'll be missed. 27 years old is way too young.
Yeah, it is kind of.
Yeah.
It's also another thing that death can strike you from nowhere. Happy thoughts.
Well, moving on to weird stuff. Something I don't understand that just kind of came up out of nowhere. Bryan Cranston. We're talking about the star of, he was in the most recent Godzilla, oddly enough. Of course, we know him from Breaking Bad. Malcolm in the Middle. He joins Power Rangers as Zordon. The floating head in a jar. It's going to be like, Rangers, we got this blue meth over here.
Rangers, there's a drug bust going on.
They're going to be like heroes to everything except for on the drugs. We're just going to leave that alone.
Leave the drugs.
Or who knows? Maybe he's just their dealer, and that's all the Power Rangers. Like, they're just tripping out, thinking they're Power Rangers. They're like in real life attacking a building, and they're like, "This giant's stopping us. We should form." Like trapeze people walking around. Yeah, that's just terrible.
Stay on each other's shoulders.
But it's just so random. Like, just Bryan Cranston, you're going to be in Power Rangers as a floating head.
Hey, man, you got to pay the bill somehow, right? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the guy has an absolutely amazing sense of humor. The stuff that he's done for even like late night TV, where he's talking with people, and the skits and things he does. The man has an excellent sense of humor, and his parents do too. But this is just really. I don't know. So yeah, Bryan Cranston's going to be a Power Ranger, Zordon. He's going to make the Power Rangers, I guess. That's just hilarious.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it.
What are you looking? Oh, I thought you were looking up like, what's Zordon? Just literally, it's a head in a fishbowl.
No, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Whose
Power
mouth
Rangers
doesn't
movie.
match it. Rangers.
Right. So, the next thing is the Warcraft movie.
Yep. Surprisingly.
So, apparently, it's actually the most successful video game movie of all time.
Yep.
If you can believe that. So I'm looking up like the reviews on it. There's a lot of reviewers that kind of get it one way or the other. I have not seen it myself, but I've talked to a few friends that have. I know this movie is basically the ultimate in fan service.
That's the thing. They were saying like, if you're really into World of Warcraft and all of this stuff, you're going to get the references. You're going to really enjoy the movie. If you don't ever play it, good luck.
It's fantasy, so maybe you could enjoy it for what it is. The audience score on Rotten Tomatoes is 80%, and the tomato meter is 30%, whatever that means.
Oh, the tomato Yeah, okay. So
Tomato
Rotten
meter?
Tomatoes saying it's a crappy movie, and fans are just like, no, we love our Warcraft. I'm sure it's entertaining, but I think that's kind of what it is. It's going to fall in that line of, if you're a really big Warcraft fan, awesome. You're going to get to see all this Warcraft stuff that you love and you know. If you don't like Warcraft or don't play it,
This is not where you start.
Good luck figuring this out. It's
But
like picking up on the sixth season, on the latest season of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Going, oh yeah,
But
that person died. I'm not sure what the importance is.
I think that the movie was. I feel like it's supposed to bring in new people, but I don't think it's doing that.
I think it's more of the most expensive fan service ever.
Yeah, but in China has contributed $200 million, and in total the movie's made $377.6 million.
Yeah.
So China apparently likes Warcraft. Where did that?
Well, I mean, they may have just gone to the film thinking they could just gold farm more. Wait, can't gold farm? No. Yeah, we'll stay for the film. We're already in. Or they just bring their laptops and they're gold farming while they're doing it.
Yeah, really.
It's your entertainment. You have to watch Warcraft.
So it's even more successful than the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, which I don't think anybody likes.
Pretty much, if you're a video game movie, your bar to hit is low. Really, really low.
Yeah.
There's been very few, halfway decent video game movies, and almost every one of them has been some kind of fan service where they just went through. I actually still enjoy the original Mortal Kombat. Flaws and all.
A lot of people actually still do.
But I mean, it was a bad movie, but it was a fan service movie.
Yeah.
A bad fan service, yet good.
Plus, we get that song out of it.
Yeah, basically, that's how it went. I had that CD, listened to it a lot. It was terrible. Of course, then you have traditional video game movies like the sequel to that, Annihilation, which is...
Or the Super Mario Brothers movie, which we don't really talk about.
Stop. No. Don't make me go after your comic book stuff and bring up Green Lantern.
Blood Rain? That was another one.
There's the Yui Bowl movies. What was it? He did House of the Dead. Yeah, it was terrible.
Oh, yeah, that was the movie.
He did House
all
of the
Resident
Dead,
Evil
he did
movies.
Postal. Okay, I actually liked the first Resident Evil. I mean, I knew it was a weird story to it. Seriously, dude being sliced up by the lasers was kind of cool.
You were almost a Jill sandwich.
Didn't even use that joke.
Really?
No, not that one at least.
Oh my gosh. Oh, they missed out on an opportunity right there. I've only seen some of the later ones. So it was just on, and I was like, I'm bored.
Oh, they've gotten worse. Now it's just kind of like, oh, it's another one. The first one, the way they did it, the first one was interesting because at least tried something new. It was fun to watch. It's not a good movie, but it's an enjoyable one to nerd out with and stuff. The second movie, they were convinced, okay, we're never going to get to make another one of these. Let's just shove every little fan service in there. So we're going to have Jill Valentine show up, in her outfit from Resident Evil 3. We're going to have, the Nemesis running around with this rocket launcher and all that stuff. Yeah, stars. That's his only line. Stars. And then they just lost their damn minds and just started cloning everybody and going to town like some post-apocalyptic thing. We're like, stop. Just, you need an X-Men style, go back in the past, rewrite everything, pretend they never happened, and give us something new. Which they won't.
But, so if you're wondering about the Warcraft movie, there you go. Now we're going to move on.
About everything.
Yeah, now we're going to move on to Nintendo news.
Yep.
There's some interesting things. The one game that I'm kind of excited about.
I'm actually excited about this one.
Nobody else is.
One of the most complained about games that I actually enjoy. We should have a discussion sometime on games we like that people seem to hate. Because apparently games that haven't even come out yet, people can hate them already.
Speaking of game hating, we'll get to that later. But
yeah, that one earned it. All 5.5 of it.
So the Amiibos for Metroid Prime Federation Force will have cosmetic outfits, and certain ones will be cosmetic as well as special upgrades.
Right.
So the Zero Suit Samus Amiibo,
Zero Suit Samus and Samus,
which the only two.
Yeah,
Metroid
I think other ones will have effects later on. I wouldn't be surprised if they had the Star Fox ones had something or whatever. They did that in a couple games, which was awesome. Which, on a side tangent, I do love how they use the amiibos in the new Kirby. Because they actually... Every amiibo works.
Oh, yeah.
Which is great.
Correspond to...
Yeah, like little Chibi Robo here actually gives you the spark ability. I was like, it's cute, you know. My favorite of that, though, if you use the new Kirby from the new set, that's the only way to get UFO, which is a classic ability and so forth, which is basically just like, I'm going to walk through this stage, because you're a UFO. You can just fly wherever, pick up things.
UFO in Kirby's Dream Land, I would literally just go to that one stage where they have it, swallow, or what is it? No, Nightmare in Dreamland, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And then just play through the game as UFO.
Yeah, UFO, and you're
just like,
so it's a fun little bonus. My favorite, though, is using... The Smash Brothers Kirby actually gives you the entire Smash Brothers moveset.
Right, yeah, Smash
and
Kirby.
And then I will go through the whole... I've been going through the whole game with that, just like...
Where, like...
It's even got the Smash attacks. It's all there.
No, yeah, I remember Smash Kirby. That was...
Just a little one of him sitting down.
No, yeah, I mean...
It's adorable.
I'm trying to remember which game he was first... It was first done in. Yeah, because Master Hand was actually like a mini-boss in one of the stages, and you could swallow him, and you could become Smash Kirby, and I'm trying to remember... Where that's from, I think it was Amazing Mirror, possibly.
Maybe. But anyways, going back to the Metroid Prime Federation Force, the game is set to release later this year. It was absent at E3. They really didn't talk about it at all.
Yep, it was Amazing Mirror.
Okay.
Where it first appeared.
And surprisingly enough, you know, I guess Nintendo's kind of kept quiet about it. The game's still looking good. It's still going to have, you know, the exploration aspect of it. It's going to have the multiplayer for co-op, which is kind of what it's aiming towards. I still like the fact that it's another part of the universe they're talking about. And it's not like it's throwing out Metroid. It's taking the original Metroid and building off of it. You hear me, Ghostbusters? Every option. Every time. Again, anyway, yeah.
I will be completely satisfied if they just say this is lore, like, you know, I guess, this is the expansion to the
well,
universe.
It is, like, because it is it's the rest of the universe we're looking at. It's not just this one focused thing.
Or just like little bits and pieces like, oh, it talks about the events that happened on...
Like the Marvel movies.
Whatever.
You've got, like, you know, all these big Marvel movies, but then you have the Netflix series, which you're seeing other parts of it that connect back to it. Well, and they reference and actually connect and grow off of the other stuff. Ghostbusters. It's never going to end.
At the end of the show, Jimmy's just Ghostbusters. I mean, I don't know what kind of or when this takes place. We don't know when this takes place because there is a Metroid timeline.
Yeah, they've
Prime
shown
series
Samus
takes place between 1 and 2. Metroid
right.
1, Metroid
this
2.
Probably has to take place sometime before. I want to say either right before Super or right after. What was the other one? The Super... the side-scrolling one. Other M.
Oh, you said side-scrolling. Other M.
It was, the side-scrolling 3D one.
No, other
I'm thinking just because of the way the suit was, but of course that thing changes constantly, so who knows?
Yeah. I mean,
I get that some people complained and didn't like the art style, because it is a chibi art style, and some people really don't like that. But given what they're trying to do, and from a technical standpoint, it really just kind of makes sense to keep that on the 3DS. If they ever bring it to a console, then that's a whole different thing.
I mean, I'm fine with it. It looks fine to me. I mean...
I don't know.
Yeah,
I want to see how it
the
plays.
suits, though, are just giant.
It looks like it controls just like the classic Metroid Prime. So yeah, I'm going to have to get you... I really like the pointer controls, but I'm going to have to get used to using the, you know, the Z targeting and stuff like that again.
Yeah. Say, I wonder...
Which is fine.
Does the dual analog stick, is that going to work?
Don't know.
With it? Yeah, I guess they haven't released that yet, have they?
Probably not, because I think it's going to be very much set up like Metroid Prime was. So... And that only required one major stick.
Right.
Because you use the other stick for options.
Because you press one and then you could look around.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. Doesn't look too terribly difficult. And like I said, as long as it's fun and they expand on the lore, I'll be perfectly happy with that.
All right. So
make a real Metroid game.
I'm honestly thinking that'll be an NX game. Better be.
Please.
So, speaking of NX...
Speaking of...
Nintendo NX will not be a digital-only console.
Woohoo!
I can possibly buy it again. I'm serious. If it was digital-only, I'd be like, I'm sorry, Nintendo, but I'm out. I'm not paying for digital titles as much as they are.
The problem I have with digital is that it goes away eventually.
Yeah.
It just, like... The servers will not be there forever. It costs money to have servers up there. It'll just disappear eventually, so... I know they're saying like,
which
oh,
is
we're
still a
going to move
major
on to
issue with
digital.
now too.
But if it's not there forever, and I bought this game that I cannot play,
like last night, I was going back and playing the original Legend of Zelda on an original NES. It still works. I still could play it. I still die by like the third dungeon, but still, I could do that. You know, the cartridge is in my house. It still works. And this is becoming more of an issue, even with physical games. Like, I could get a game 20, 30 years from now, crank up a PlayStation 4 to play it, and all of a sudden I don't have access to the patch that fixed all these huge issues, and I'm stuck playing Assassin's Creed with this horrible inverted face and popping out eyeballs. So, you know, they really need to be able to fix that. But it was talked about during I think it was a GameStop financial hearing. They were, or finance meeting, whatever, they were talking about how NX will work with their market. They weren't confirming it was cartridges, but they kind of hinted if it was, it'd be fine. You know, they're easier to refurbish, all that stuff. And there's been some reports lately, or some listings for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for NX that have been showing hints at being a cartridge, not an optical disc. It could go either way on that. Cartridges just kind of make more sense to me. Because if you're going to be going back and forth between a portable and a handheld, or a portable and a console, if that's what it is, a cartridge is the easiest way to transfer back and forth.
Now, are these like big cartridges, or we're talking about like little?
We're talking like 3DS cartridges with more memory. I mean, seriously. If you think about it, look at the Vita. I mean, yeah, it had those stupid memory cards you had to use, but how small those Vita cards were. Like, they were too small. Like, seriously, the 3DS is as small as we need to go. The Vita ones could literally be lost way too easily.
That would be kind of interesting if the NX just had like a little slot and you can just kind of slide it in.
And who knows, it could bring up, you know, backwards compatibility with 3DS or DS, which would just be weird. But, especially if it's only one screen. But I guess they could still do it.
I wouldn't mind it. It'd be kind of nostalgic for me because, you know, the N64. And
well, if it's going to be a portable, it's definitely benefits it, because one of the things that Nintendo did when they kept with cartridges on the handhelds, and everyone was like, oh, why are you doing this? It should be like the PSP. It's got this optical disc. Well, that's a moving part, which, as we all remember, sucked the battery dry on the PSP. I mean, it was a fun system, and it just done.
Yeah,
disk
like
drive
you got an hour out of it.
Right, and people really got more enjoyment out of it if they went digital, where it was more downloaded on the memory card. So they learned that lesson, and they proved that when they did the Vita, which still had short battery life because it was a more powerful machine, but it was not because of the other part. It was more durable because you have no moving parts. You just put it in, connects, you're done. You know, no moving stuff around or waiting for a laser to be misaligned or something. And storage capacity in these things is getting ridiculous. They're getting up there or at the level or even above for a reasonable cost of a Blu-ray. But I can, you know, take a cartridge and just throw it across the room and it's going to be fine. So it survives more people. I get nervous about my kids messing with game consoles that have disk drives because they're going to get fingerprints on it or scratch it or mess it up. But they can take old cartridges and just drop them, throw them, whatever. I mean, and they survive. It's ridiculous what those things can go through. You just have to clean the pins on occasion. Woo! You know. I did that last night. My Zelda still worked after 20, 30 years. Or, yeah, it's been 30-something years. Whew, man. All right. So we actually have some Zelda stuff. What you got?
Yay! All right. So, awesome thing. Hyrule Warriors Legends Link's Awakening DLC pack will be available June 30th.
Yep.
Link gets a new weapon. She has, like, boots.
I can't say much. Link got a horse, so, I mean...
Well, yeah.
They're all about them crazy weapons.
And Marin will be a new playable character. She has, like, a giant bell or something like that.
Please tell me she calls in cows. Please tell me she calls in cows.
No, she summons a whale. The sky whale.
Okay, that Marin. So they're doing that one.
Marin. You're talking about Milan? No.
Yeah.
Not Milan. Marin. From Link's Awakening.
Yeah, she's called... Yeah,
they should have put Milan in there.
They have great. Well, the characters are connected by the reference to each other, but not the same one. And they've been kind of weird like that, so yeah,
but she has, like...
so she calls on the windfish.
She calls on the windfish, and she can shoot bubbles that have musical notes in them. If you have...
that makes sense, yeah.
And, I mean, she looks pretty fun.
I need to get the season pass for it. I mean, that's one thing I wish Nintendo would do with a lot of these, where, you know, if you get... They would eventually release complete versions of it. Because we're talking about, not having this stuff later on. One day Mario Kart 8 will not have like these awesome maps.
Or Link as a playable character. It's just...
Look at how different just Hyrule Warriors on the Wii U, how much different it is from launch date to now.
Yeah.
It is a completely different game for them. They've updated some of the mechanics, made it run better. They've put in a whole slew of characters, missions, modes. All of that will be gone, and you're stuck with what you have day one, which was fun, but not as good as what it is now. Same thing for Mario Kart and some of the other ones. Or, good Lord, Splatoon. All right. So,
what comes out tomorrow, Jeremy?
Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE.
Which will actually be out the day that this goes up. So
yes.
And I'm going to go ahead and announce I will be streaming that on my Twitch channel.
And I will announce I'm broke and can't get it to the end of the month, but I will be getting it.
You want to come over and play it with me?
I'd like to.
Oh.
I got to go to town this week.
Oh.
Tomorrow, yeah, I'm going to be up here. We shall see. The game looks interesting.
I forgot when. Wait, 7, maybe 6? I don't know. I might be streaming all day. Who knows?
I don't know. The game still looks really good from a lot of stuff I've seen. People are still complaining about the fact they had changed a few things on it.
I didn't notice anything.
Well, they changed it to a teen. They brought it to a teen rating, and I think part of that's because Fire Emblem has always been a teen-rated game, and some of the stuff they brought in for Shibuya.
What was it rated before?
I think it's like a mature in Japan. Yeah, it's weird, but they've got some stuff that people would freak out about over here. Like some of the creatures from over there I can't even mention on the air are bad. We'll just say one of them looks like male parts. Yeah, that's one of the... I was like, okay, no. Yeah. That game has some weird stuff, but we'll see.
I'm gonna...
Yeah, you don't want to look that up on the air. You don't even want to see it. I'm not even going to tell you. So on a happier note...
Well, I know Rachel was complaining that they changed some of the outfits or something like that. But
they did change some of the outfits, but I think they just changed a few.
I know one of the outfits, I was like...
I don't know. I'm okay with it. I mean, I don't think it's a major going in there like destroying the whole game or anything, but whatever. All right, so the Nintendo 64 turns 20 years old today, actually, at the day we're recording this. So June 23rd, back in June 23rd, 1996. I was still in high school when this came out. Mind you, this is the Japanese release. America got it about a year later. But this was, the release of the console. It's also the 20th anniversary of Super Mario 64, which is basically a game just about throwing a baby penguin off the side of a cliff. Everyone did it. You know you did.
Yeah, I did.
There's people at PETA going, yeah, I did it once.
Guilty.
I just, that was fun. It's just the one penguin. It was annoying.
Baby. You're an orphan.
Especially when you grab the wrong baby. That's not mine. I was like, oh, forget this.
Well, then, fine. You don't get it at all. You're being ungrateful.
And just toss it. We're horrible people.
Yeah.
At least in video games. I'm okay in real life-ish. But, I mean, the Nintendo 64 had a whole slew of really good games that I remember. I mean, that's where we got Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, which are considered some of the best Legend of Zelda games ever made. We had GoldenEye, which was that game was just stupidly fun to play.
Banjo-Kazooie.
Local multiplayer. Well, it had its later successor, Perfect Dark, which really came into its own, where it didn't have to fight with the license. Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie were beautifully done, which we're getting new, somewhat versions of those in Ukulele.
Yeah, which I don't know how people feel after... certain one that we'll get to later. I don't want to spoil it or anything, but
this one actually looks like they're doing something. Like they've actually shown progress, and it just looks good. So we got some hope on that. So any N64 memories for you? Like how old were you in '96? Please tell me not alive. Please don't tell me not alive.
No, I was live. I was there.
Were you at Solid Food yet?
96. Let me see. 92. 3, 4, 5.
Wait, you were born in '92?
Yeah.
So you're at Solid
So I was
Foods.
like 4.
You weren't even in school yet.
It's like 4.
I was a senior in high school, and you weren't even in school yet.
And I think at 5, that's when I got my N64, I think. And with Super Mario 64.
Well, at the time, that was pretty much one of your only choices. It was that and Pilot Wings. I think that was your choices. Oh, and
Memories?
Star Wars.
I'm trying to think memories.
Of course, how did we forget? It also was the birth of Super Smash Brothers.
I do remember Super Smash Bros. And just looked at it. I'm like, this is the most amazing thing.
Yeah, it was the start of the Mario, the start of the Mario Party series. You know,
I never got into Mario Party. I loved Kirby 64 though.
That
Crystal
was fun.
Shards. Oh my gosh! And it took me forever to figure out that I had to get 100% to get the actual ending. And when I finally figured it out, I was like, ah, because there was this one Crystal Shard that I was missing, but it was like it was in the third ocean world, I think, third ocean level, and it was behind. It was like up here this wall, and you had to break through this one thing, and I never figured out that one of the there's a stone cutter kind of thing, and you turn into different animals or whatever.
Well, that was the one you could actually mix abilities.
You had to turn into like some kind of hamster or whatever, and then you had to use your wall jump to get up there. It took me forever to figure that one out.
Yeah, that was we had Star Fox 64, which was kind of a rebirth. Well, the first rebirth of the Star Fox series. They've pretty much done it almost every time.
Yep.
It's been fun, at least.
Yeah.
Still like the new one, Rachel.
My biggest memory was actually Banjo-Kazooie. Just surround that whole. There's this whole.
See, we have very similar memories, but a completely different game, and you know which way I'm going with this. Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Yeah.
So you weren't old enough to play Conker's Bad Fur Day, but me and my wife, Amanda, were playing that, and it was hilarious and raunchy and great.
But with Banjo-Kazooie, me and my dad actually were trying to keep playing, because I would get to level 2, and I'd be like, oh, it's too scary, I can't do it anymore. The swamp. I don't want to get eaten.
What was it, Gruntilda or something like that?
Yeah.
I love the fact they're bringing back that voice acting type with the new one.
Ukulele?
With Ukulele. They're still doing that with the text on the bottom. I was like, respect.
Okay. But basically, with Banjo-Kazooie, it took us years, and then the file got deleted somehow, and then we had to start all over, and then that got deleted again by my stepbrother. Thank you, JT. And then
I'm playing through it on the Xbox One right now, actually.
Then my stepdad sold all my N64 stuff.
You don't have a 64 anymore?
I do, but it's
okay.
It's because I got it somewhere else.
I'm about to say, I'll give you one.
No, I have one, but it's not my original one where I had all my games like F-Zero and stuff like that. So my stepdad was like, "Oh, you got a GameCube now? I'm just going to take it to GameStop and sell it." I'm like, "Why would you do that?"
Well, my favorite thing about the N64, and this is kind of a little thing, because earlier this month was also my 16th wedding anniversary. When me and Amanda were dating, she was the first girl that really wanted to try and understand and get into like my hobbies and stuff like that, so we could both do things that we enjoyed. So she went out and took what little money she had, and she bought the Atomic Green Nintendo 64 Donkey Kong 64 pack. And I was like blown away by the fact she actually did that, because she wanted to. I'd had other girlfriends before, and even family that was like, "Quit playing video games. You're too old for that. You shouldn't enjoy this stuff." And she was just like, "No, I want to see if I can enjoy it and what I like and get into that." And that was when I was like, "Okay, this is the one." Like literally after some of that, I was like, "Wow, she was actually wanting to try and do that. Meet in the middle, not just change how we were." Right. We still have that N64 in my bedroom hooked up. That's the 64 that I use, is that green one. And I've had people offer to buy it from me, and I'm like, "Nope, I refuse to sell."
Cherished memories.
Yeah, this is my it's technically still her 64, but I use it.
Can't buy memories.
So yeah, happy 20th for the N64.
Yeah,
it helped me get married.
Nintendo changing lives. Also,
yes. All right, so we'll move on to the nerd vocab. Nerd vocab for this week is sharp. In music, sharp, DSA from French, or DSC from Greek, means higher in pitch. More specifically, in musical notation, sharp means higher in pitch by a semitone, half step, and has an associated sharp symbol, which
is the tic-tac-toe looking thing.
Right. Which may be found in key signatures or as an accidental. Yeah.
There you go. I figured since Mirage Sessions was coming out tomorrow, and sharp is actually in the name, sharp FE.
Yeah, gonna go from that.
High FE. Higher FE. Higher Fire Emblem. What?
That's funny.
So,
anyways,
do you know why? Well, this is a guess. Do you know why No Man's Sky was delayed, Jeremy? Moving on to our video game news.
Reason ever.
So, if you thought Bethesda was bad about
just
lawsuits
reach up there and
stuff,
let's just reach up there and pull this whole horrible mess right out of the sky. Go for it.
So, No Man's Sky dev says it was caught in a secret stupid legal battle
That's
over
literally what
game's
they said,
name.
Secret stupid.
So, No Man's Sky developer Sean Murray.
Scene.
I don't know.
Have you never met anyone with the name of Sean?
Not like that. Says his studio was involved in a lengthy battle with British telecom company Sky over the game's name.
How long was that battle? 3 years, people. 3 years they had to fight over just having the name Sky in their name.
I hate...
Because heaven forbid you think a video game about flying around the universe on randomly generated worlds is ever going to be confused with a British telecom company.
Heaven forbid you try to have the game name Scrolls and then get sued by Bethesda because your game has the word Scrolls in it.
I found out this is not the first time they've sued someone over this. Microsoft was actually they came after them as well because you remember they used to be called the Microsoft SkyDrive, and all of a sudden it became, a whole different thing for how they had to have it set up. Where now it's called Microsoft OneDrive.
Oh my gosh!
Because they were sued by Sky and had to change the name from SkyDrive to OneDrive. At least in that regards, okay, it's a telecommunication company, and then maybe the stuff with Microsoft. I could see maybe some confusion with the word Sky, but I still don't see how they can actually own the word Sky. But why go after a video game company for having the word Sky?
I think it should be you own a certain set of words, not one specific word like the Sky. Oh, you're going to charge me royalties for saying Sky?
What were the lawsuits for that? We've got Sky, there was Scroll, and there was something else. Because somebody had a great joke where they're like, I just want to make a game now and name it like the Sky Scroll of something. And I was like, yes. Because they're like, let's just see who sues me first. Let's just see who fights over it, who gets the credit.
Let's see if I can find it. Why don't you talk about the Neo while I try to look for...
Oh, yeah, this is one. Yeah. So,
crack your knuckles.
All right. Reports suggest the PlayStation 4 Neo may be releasing this year. Sony confirmed this E3. They didn't show anything about it, but confirmed before the show that the PlayStation Neo is a thing and will be coming out. It's basically an upgrade for the PlayStation 4. Not so much in the fact it's an actual upgrade, but a new system. But, yeah, whatever. It's going to at least reference back to the original PlayStation 4, Ghostbusters. Yes, I had to do that.
Oh, that's fine.
But we didn't have any information about when this is coming out, specs and things like that. Microsoft made their own announcement. They talked a little bit more, which we got, the lovely buzzword now of teraflops.
Woo!
It's an actual term. People just don't normally use it unless you're as nerdy as we are. Well, it's supposed to be 6 teraflops of power.
About...
Yeah, I was just like, you just lost everyone. But after a previous report says the PS4 Neo will see a release by September, another source has claimed knowledge of a 2016 launch for Sony's mid-generation upgrade. So there's a possibility, we may get the Neo even before we get the NX. Hopefully not before we actually get news about the NX. Nintendo needs
I still want to see how it's
going
to integrate with the Wii U. Like, they keep saying it's supposed to connect to the Wii U.
I don't think it's going to connect directly. I think it's going to be like maybe the account system connects, but I don't see it directly connecting to the Wii U.
Oh, that'd be disappointing. What if you plug it into the Wii U and then it's one super-powered machine?
Because I think it's going to end up being, I think, like how the DS was. Where the DS first came out, it wasn't a replacement for the Game Boy Advance and all this stuff. It was the third pillar strategy. And then they realized people liked it and went, oh, no, this is our thing. Go away, Game Boy. Go. Your time is done. Go back in the closet. So, they can go from there.
So, Jeremy, also speaking of video game news, again, you seemed to have wanted to talk about it.
I'm debating if I even want to talk about this, but...
Just Remember,
People need to quit responding to everything they get in such a horrible manner. Let's begin. All right. So on Twitter today, this huge thing launched against Nintendo, where there was during E3 the Treehouse Live, they did a demonstration of the upcoming Paper Mario Color Splash, and in that, as you're going through the video, and all this is available online, but of course no one looked this up. There was a couple jokes that were made referencing different parts. We get to this one part of the demo where there are 5 green-headed toads, and they're playing one of those shuffle games. They get a key and they have to shuffle around. So they made a reference called, it says, there's a screenshot that was released that says, let's watch the 5 fun guys dance and shuffle, which, fun guys is a joke reference to the fact that they're mushroom people.
right?
And it's also a direct reference to Mario Party 8, where they had the fun guys in that one as well. They were kind of doing some stuff with the shuffle. And then that was said on Twitter, and then there was a picture right with it that goes, man, is this going to ruin my career? I can see the headline now, Shufflegate exposed. And everyone automatically assumed, and they just kind of took these and sent them to the old Nintendo employee, Zoe Quinn, who, of course, recently, as we talked about earlier this year, had some pretty nasty stuff done to her by guys that are pretty much at a hate group called Gamergate.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm going to straight up call it that. I don't care what people say to me. That's what I'm going to call it. You do not cause that much disturbance to someone's life over the most petty, stupid things and not be called a hate group. So, yeah, bring it, Internet. Don't care. And so they sent these 2 pictures with no context and just put them out. And the 5 fun guys was a reference, or the people believed it was a reference to the original guys of Gamergate, as well as they were accusing Zoe Quinn of sleeping around with 5 different guys and all this other stuff. And then later on, the word Shufflegate, they're like, oh, it's got gate in it. It must be that. Look, people, I get it. You're all younger than I am, but we have this thing called history. Things happened before today. So, first of all, I get people were upset and they reacted to this. I'm sure that's not something she wants to see in the way it was contexted. She texted out pretty nasty stuff towards Nintendo about it, just based off these 2 pictures. And even Nintendo responded, going like, here's the video, and it shows it. I watched it. They're talking about that, they're shuffling the people around. I went back and saw the reference to Mario Party 8. And then there's a bunch of dialogue and stuff going on in between this until later on they find out that the reason you can't solve this puzzle is they're cheating. And they get caught doing it. And there's even a joke about the judge trying to bribe them and all this stuff. Well, children, this is back to something back in the 1970s called Watergate, which, during that, with President Nixon at the time, was found during the, I believe, Democratic National Committee, had 5 main people that went in to steal documentation from the Watergate Hotel, and they got caught. There was those 5 plus 2 of the direct aides for Nixon that were working with it as well. That became a huge scandal, which led to the first and only first president we've had that actually resigned his position before the end of his term. They were going to try and then take him out from that. So, that kind of started the whole gate thing for anything that happens. People just kind of use it in a joking manner, like, oh, this restaurant's tacos have got bad meat, Taco Gate, these stupid little things. It's become just a juxtaposition of a word that we use all the time. Anything we find jokingly, like people were, Ghostbusters Gate. Yes, brought it up again. But on a serious note, so they call this one Shufflegate Exposed because it's these guys shuffling. And see, after Watergate, there was a book written about it that was trying to explain a lot of the stuff that covered what had happened, called Watergate Exposed. So what it is they were making 2 completely different jokes. One of them was a throwback reference to Mario Party 8, their own game, with these little shuffling guys that was in there. And people were like, well, why do they call it specifically 5 fun guys? Why couldn't it just be fun guys? Well, Japan made the characters before any of this stuff had actually happened. They already had the guys there. And they even mentioned they're quintuplets. It's the joke, like, how can they be quintuplets when all the toads look the same anyways? This is 5 toads. Yeah, they're green, but seriously, they all look like this. That's part of the joke. And then, later on, after all this stuff happens, you play through it, there's a bunch of dialogue. The guy bribes you, you catch him that he's done this, and then he mentions, man, is this going to ruin my career? I can see the headlines now, Shufflegate exposed. Which is referencing the fact that these shuffle guys cheated. It was exposed. Watergate reference. If someone sends you something online, it is not... You have to have the due diligence to look into it and find out, is this true or not? What is actually going on? Don't just flip it over and just start screaming and sending out stuff and sending out accusations, because it's going to make you look like an idiot. What happened to her was bad. Nintendo should have stepped up a little bit sooner to help her out with some of this stuff. That's a whole gray area that's never going to get a straight answer from anyone on it. The Gamergate guys, I'm going to say again, I basically view as a hate group of the way they treat people and what they do with that, and should never have done it. But this is not something Nintendo was sitting there maliciously trying to do. Even she later, after getting all this shown to her and seeing that it was completely separate parts, was like, oh, well, they shouldn't have done that. And I'm like, you could take 2 lines out of this show and probably just clip it together to look like a camera change and probably figure out some way to make us look like we agree or say something we didn't. Guess what? With 2 pictures on the internet, anything can be done. That how many times a day I see stupid pictures that are so easily proven false in like 10, 15 seconds of research, but people are ranting and raving about it. And this is what this is. Seriously, you have a responsibility with the access to the internet and the World Wide Web and everything we can do to actually, if you want to believe in something, so be it. Make sure it's real. Don't just go off onto weird tangents of stupid ideas. Research it. I mean, this whole thing could have been avoided, what was said and done today, to all these different people. I mean, they were calling for people to be fired. They were calling for bans on Nintendo. People were wanting to boycott it. There was people that are in the gaming journalism that were saying, some fairly nasty stuff about this, accusing automatically, like, how dare they do this? And then turn right around, there's another article of them like, oh, we're going to be reviewing this game from Nintendo. And I'm like, well, how can we really trust what you're going to say? Are you going to throw a fit about this? Are you going to reference back to it? You're just taking a lie and making it worse. It was this whole thing, somebody took 2 pictures, 2 screenshots, and purposely sent this to her and to other people in a very malicious and nasty way. And all you're doing is just adding to the hate. So yeah, that's my rant. Moving on.
Don't believe everything on the internet, children.
Oh, that bothered me so bad.
Bingo. So, not all is right with the world, as we have just stated, but something much more...
This is nasty.
Something much worse. I don't even know how this even is, thing. So,
It's just...
a weight loss device was approved by the FDA sometime last week that has some doctors basically just going like...
It's a weird one. I've seen this, and I thought it was a joke at first, which I then researched and found out it's not.
So, with one even attempting to put together 4,000 physicians to sue the agency. That's because they say the device, which lets patients pump some of the food they've just eaten directly from their stomachs into the toilet.
Yeah, like that lunch was great. Let me go get rid of it.
Which...
I'm sure
this isn't too safe. Then it could obviously cause eating disorders, and
that's what I can see.
Nasty.
There may be medical reasons why it could be used. There's a lot of things that people would look at this and go like, colostomy bags and stuff like that. Yeah, it's different. Yeah, it's nasty, but it's a necessary thing for certain people. Yeah. There are uses for these. The problem they're seeing, and I kind of agree, is it's got to be really carefully watched because people are going to use that or get this operation somehow or do something because stomach stapling and stuff like that, people would go, it actually legitimately helps people. I've got a family member that's even had that. She had a major weight issue and came down a lot. I mean, it made her life a huge difference. But I've seen other people that were just like, oh, well, I don't want to have to watch what I eat, so I'm going to, go somewhere else and do this. And then it can lead to medical issues with that. There's complications
usually,
to it.
like
It shouldn't be an easy route.
like
It's usually a last resort.
like a binge and purge strategy. That kind of
That's part of an actual eating disorders and stuff like that.
Like
this
might contribute to that.
It could to a point, but I think it's one of those things that have to be monitored and there's going to be legitimate medical reasons. I don't know what they are, but I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to assume, oh, well, I can't think of any reason why it shouldn't be there, so it shouldn't. Well, if it's gotten to FDA approval, that's a lot of medical people that have had to go through, a lot of research that has to be done to prove its usefulness and what it's being done for. So I'm going to have to give them the benefit of the doubt on that, but it also needs to be monitored that people don't abuse it or get just... It is a weird one.
It's like... I saw this, I was like, what?
Yeah, the one I saw had an animatic. So I was just like, oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a weird one to just...
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So we're just... Yeah.
2016, weirdest year of all time.
Too many people dying and...
People dying, just a stupid presidential election. We're not even going to talk about weird video game stuff. Companies.
We do talk about that.
Non-video game companies suing video game companies over video game names.
Or just over the word sky. I just want to call this one episode the Sky Edification Hour. Just put sky in everything. It's the Skyification Sky. Skyer. I don't know.
The Sky Ghostbusters Edification Hour. Yep. It's a weird one, a weird day.
Yeah, it's just Caleb in the sky with Ghostbusters. Making a Beatles joke too. So
wow. So I think that'll be it for us here.
Yeah, that's awkward. I had to get all adulty on people.
Wow. Adulty.
My rant. All right.
But basically, you can find the Nerdification Hour crew. Just look up Nerdification Hour on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And at Nerdification, at Nerdification is the Twitter account. What else am I missing? Strangely Entertaining, capital S, capital E, one word, is the YouTube channel.
Yep, that's where you can actually find us easiest.
Which, not so much on the TV or the radio, but we try.
Yeah, it's kind of hit and miss on that right now, but every week we're gonna, as long as we're here, we'll have it online.
I try to get it up the very next day. So
yeah,
I try.
You
My
did a good
best.
job about that, actually.
Thank you.
You've gotten better.
Twitch, my Twitch channel is same thing. Strangely Entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, the usual streams are on Friday at 7 every week. Supposedly, I might stream a bit early tomorrow, so I'll probably be playing Fire Emblem, the FE Sharp Tokyo Mirage sessions. I can never get that right. Jeremy, where can they find you at?
You can find me over on Twitter at Zenspath, ZENSPATH. You can also find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Zenspath. Our YouTube page is ZenspathCOM. And of course, you can look up Zenspath on Facebook, talk to us on there. And then I know Rachel wasn't here today, but you can also find her on her Twitter account, or Twitch account, which is twitch.tv/outrageous, OUTRACHEOUS. So we'll throw out what she's there. Yeah.
Yep.
She may be playing, but she'll probably won't be talking too much to become all stuffed up. Grumpier than normal. Love you, Rachel.
More than usual. But that'll be it here for today's show, or this week's show. And until next week, stay fancy.
Peace.